Hello, it's Saturday, the 20th of June. You're tuned in to our 6 p.m. newscast, coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's wonderful to have you with us. I'm Mark Broome. We start with the latest on the MERS outbreak in Korea. Exactly 1 month has passed since the country confirmed its first infection of the deadly virus. And with no reports of extra confirmed cases yesterday, Friday, that is, experts are cautiously suggesting the MERS outbreak could be nearing a state of lull. Choi You-sun reports.
Korea's Central MERS Response Headquarters says for the first time in 16 days, there were no new cases of the infectious disease the day before on Friday. The total number of confirmed cases remains at 166. There were also no additional deaths, and 6 patients were discharged from hospital. The number of people in quarantine dropped by more than 700, down to 5,197. Experts say the outbreak could be reaching a state of lull as the number of new cases dropped steadily over the past week. Health authorities, however, say there could be additional cases as the last known incubation period doesn't end until next Wednesday.
Even though there were no new patients, we will not ease up, and we are keeping a close eye on intensive control hospitals.
But authorities stress excessive anxiety about the virus among the general population is unwarranted.
It's safe for people to go about their everyday lives in areas where they won't come into contact with the virus.
Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-ahn asked officials and staff at the central headquarters to do everything they can to swiftly eradicate the virus. Meeting with local government heads and politicians representing Pyeongtaek City, one of the hardest hit areas in the capital region, the Prime Minister stressed the need for the central, local governments and the parliament to closely consult on the response system. Authorities, meanwhile, will offer monetary assistance, including low-interest loans, to healthcare facilities that have suffered financial losses due to the MERS outbreak. Choi You-sun, Arirang News.
So it appears the MERS outbreak is finally being brought under control, but concerns remain over the negative impact it's going to have on Korea's economic recovery. Experts have warned dampening consumer confidence amid already weak domestic demand could cause a double-dip downturn. They also note while the economy had been showing signs of a slight improvement last month, it will now be difficult for Korea to achieve a growth rate of 3% this year. With Korea's transportation, food, hotel and travel sectors hit hard by the MERS outbreak, policymakers have been calling for supplementary measures to avoid a protracted period of low growth. Analysts say the MERS outbreak is expected to slow Korea's economic growth by at least 0.1 percentage point this year. Korea and Japan are reportedly exploring the possibility of holding a bilateral leaders summit as well as a trilateral summit with China sometime this fall. Japan's Nihon Geisei Shimbun daily reports that the meetings could take place in Korea after Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's statement marking the 70th anniversary of Japan's defeat in World War II this summer. This means the summit, if it goes ahead, would happen sometime between September and November. Now, according to the report, the three-way summit is expected to help ease Seoul and Tokyo from the burden of narrowing their differences over history before their leaders meet face-to-face. The two sides differ on Japan's apology and compensation for Korean women forced into sexual slavery by the Japanese military before and during World War II. Now, while the foreign ministers of Korea and Japan are scheduled to meet on Sunday, UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon has expressed hope they will find ways to resolve the issues. The United States has decided against relisting North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism. There had been some speculation Washington might put North Korea back on the list following its alleged hacking attack on Sony Pictures late last year. But the US State Department says Pyongyang is not known to have sponsored any terrorist acts since the bombing of a Korean Airlines flight in 1987. North Korea was removed from the list in 2008 by then US President George W. Bush. 4 nations currently listed as state sponsors of terrorism by the US are Cuba, Iran, Syria and Sudan. The UN's Food Agency has warned that North Korea's worst drought in decades could lead to a severe hunger crisis in the country. Representatives from the UN Food and Agriculture Organization visited North Korea's major agricultural production areas in North Hwanghae and South Hwanghae provinces around a week ago. There, they found that potato, wheat and barley harvests were at risk of being cut by up to 50% in drought-hit areas. The agency also says rice production this year is expected at a paltry 2.3 million tonnes. That's 12% below last year's shriveled output and much, much lower than the previous 5-year average. Officials report that wells are dry and reservoir levels are low following meagre rain and snowfall in 2014 and early 2015. Now, food shortages in North Korea have been exacerbated by slumping international food aid to the country, mostly because of the regime's tight control on humanitarian workers and reluctance to allow monitoring of food distribution. South Korea has submitted a request to be re-elected as a member of the UN Human Rights Council after its 3rd term ends later this year. The UN General Assembly says Seoul made its intentions known last month that it wants to run for a seat on the Council for the next term, which runs from 2016 to 2018. The Human Rights Council is made up of 47 member states, which are elected by the majority of members of the UN General Assembly through direct and secret ballot. The vote will be held this autumn at the 70th General Assembly. In some science fiction movies, you often see characters that are able to control machines with only their thoughts. Well, that idea might soon become a reality thanks to a group of Korean researchers who have developed a robotic suit that can detect and move according to electronic signals from the user's brain. Our Park Se-young has a story.
In the science fiction film Pacific Rim, robots controlled by the human brain fight against monstrous creatures. But the idea of mind-controlled machines isn't as far from reality as you might think. In collaboration with Microsoft Research, a team from Korea University has created a mind-controlled robotic suit that can walk and turn at the user's will by reading their brainwaves. To operate it, the user steps into the suit and looks at a tablet connected to a web of electrodes which reads the user's thoughts. The electrodes send signals from the person's brain to a computer which analyzes the signals and turns them into actions to move the suit in the desired direction. The computer is programmed with learning algorithms which scientists have found are 93% effective in following a user's desired route. The suit, which also has a stability control system to help with balance, was designed to help with the rehabilitation of patients paralyzed from the waist down.
Patients going through rehabilitation can easily control the suit with their mind. There is no need for help from physical therapists or for hospital visits.
The machine's range of motion is currently limited to walking, but the scientists hope to develop algorithms that can turn thoughts into other actions too. The robotic suit, which was unveiled last month, will still require years of additional research before it's ready for public use, but it shows the gap between humans and machines is narrowing. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Now, have you ever dreamed that you could fly? I'm sure most of us have at least once in our lives. Well, now, Korean researchers have introduced a new drone technology that could make us feel as if, though, that dream has come true. Our Won Ji-yeon reports.
Up, up, and away. If you could fly, this is what a college campus in Korea would look like from above. But you don't have to have wings to get this breathtaking view, thanks to a new type of drone that gives users the experience of flying. The device was developed by researchers at Yonsei University. They attached a camera on the drone and connected it to a set of virtual reality goggles. The person wearing the goggles can see what the drone sees while it's in flight. The scientists also equipped the drone with special sensors that pick up signals from the pilot's body movements and fly the drone in the same direction.
We developed this technology to show that drones can be used to inspire children's hopes and dreams. I'd like to see more positive developments in drone technology, instead of having people abuse them or fly them for military purposes.
The researchers are currently making their final tweaks to the virtual reality technology, and they're hoping to commercialize the drones next year. Won Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
And finally, leaving you with a brief look at the weather. And most of Korea has been seeing some much-needed rain after a long drought period. The band of rain has mostly passed now, and we'll have a mild night under cloudy skies. And Sunday is going to be dry, relatively sunny and very warm, with daytime highs around the nation in the mid-20s to 30 degrees Celsius. And we'll see similar weather throughout next week as well. Finally, let's take a look at the weather around the world. Well, that's all we have for now. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.co.kr/news, and do download our smartphone application. Just search for Arirang TV. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, wherever you're watching us, and do stay tuned to Arirang. We'll be back with our next newscast at 10 p.m. Korea time. So until then, goodbye.